Alright, hey everybody, we are McDonald's. I'm Ben, this is Kevin, Damian, Jackson, Josh, and Matthew. And I'm just going to give you guys a brief history of the company before we get into the numbers. Alright, so in 1940, Richard and Maurice McDonald opened up their very first restaurant in San Bernardino, California. They figured out that of the 25 menu items there, only 3 of them made the majority of the profit, so they decided to ditch the rest and just focus on their best sellers. This was known as the speedy service system. So they redesigned their whole place and they made it like an assembly line, which each product had its own station. This is when Ray Kroc came into the picture. Ray Kroc was a traveling milkshake mixer salesman. He would go restaurant to restaurant selling these milkshake mixers for a living. And he got an order for 8 of them, and he was hard pressed to sell 1. So he went over to San Bernardino to investigate. And what he found was a $1 million name on a well-oiled machine of a business. In his eyes, it was a gold mine and a huge opportunity, so he made them business partners. And in 1954, he bought the rights to franchise McDonald's across the country. So he was off making all these new McDonald's, and they just kind of stayed in their one, the black and white picture there. He opened up his first in Des Plaines, Illinois, which is where he was from. And this is commonly known as the first McDonald's, even though it's not the official first one. And that is the one with the golden arches up at the top there. Those were designed to catch the eye of people on the highway. Brand new design of a building. So he figured out this financial plan that McDonald's still does to this day. He went and bought up all the land that the future franchises are going to be built upon, and then he leased it to the franchisees. And this made him so much money that he was able to expand and expand and expand. And while he was doing all this extra work, the McDonald's brothers were reaping 0.5% of all profits, which might not seem like a lot, but they still retained creative control. And he wanted to get a mascot, and he wanted to get Coca-Cola involved and all this stuff, and they just said no. So he bought them up for $2.7 million, and in today's money it's right around $21 million. And after this, extreme success followed. They opened up 37,000 locations in 118 countries. And along the way, they made some really big achievements. Today, they serve, 1% of the entire world population every day. It's roughly 69 million customers. They're also the world's largest toy distributor, thanks to the Happy Meal. But I think their best achievement was, you guys have probably heard of it before, it's the Ronald McDonald House Charities. It kind of acts as a hotel or community center for terminally ill kids. It lets them stay close to home and with their families while they get the care that they need.
As for the environmental analysis, as we know, every company has external environmental forces that they must deal with. It's extremely important for a company to understand these effects in order to mitigate the negative effects of them. As so long as a company has a well-structured process, it can plan out for the competitive, economic, technological, and sociocultural forces. McDonald's has many competitors in the fast food industry, but it's done an extremely well job rising far ahead of the competition, generating a 21.4% market share in the fast food industry according to T4 in 2019. The next top 3 competitors, however, Starbucks, KFC, and Subway, have a combined 13.1%. McDonald's has done a great job and has secured itself safely a spot in the top 100 companies based off of market cap with $185.45 billion. Now, given that McDonald's has been around since 1948, it's had its fair share of economic troubles. The most notable of which was the Great Recession of 2008, where real estate prices dropped on average by 30 to 50% across the country. Given that McDonald's makes a great portion of its money from real estate, this is very large impact on the company. On top of that, consumer spending was at an all-time low since World War II. In the technological department, there have been many upgrades given to McDonald's. However, there really have been very little increase to performance and very little improvements made. We've seen McDonald's boast some of the worst drive-through times compared to its competitors in recent years, as of 2015, and it has led to a very large decrease in revenue because of this, as it struggles to find alternatives such as mobile ordering, kiosks, and delivery systems such as Uber and DoorDash, Grubhub. It really hasn't found a whole ton of success other than the drive-through, and yet it boasts some of the worst times. As for the sociocultural effects, McDonald's has done very well in this department, spreading itself across 118 countries of various different cultures and environments. It's implemented new menu items that are region-specific and have done very well in those regions. It's also done a great job advertising their new products and new advertising strategies, such as, for example, the Travis Scott meal and the reintroduction of the McRib, among many. It shows that the corporation does know a lot of what their customers' wants and needs are, and will do very well to follow this in future use.
Okay. McDonald's objective is to make delicious, feel-good moments easy for everyone, and as you can tell from the last two, that they are everywhere, and I don't think you can go anywhere without having a feel-good moment, being able to go to McDonald's. Their target market is everyone, but they do offer like a lower pricing menu and deals and such, and speed, obviously. So you could say that it's for lower income people, but it's for everyone. And then sustainability and ethics wise, McDonald's is hoping to, well, by this year they opened their first 100% like self-ran energy-wise McDonald's, and by 2030 they're hoping to get rid of all plastics in their system, and they hope to refine their system, like from the farmer to the table. Pretty much, they want to have not like restrict the company, but they want to reduce emissions throughout the entire system, reduce waste throughout the entire system, and give it back to where it's needed.
Starting with marketing mix products, McDonald's is a very well-known restaurant that is familiar with everyone. It primarily sells cheeseburgers, hamburgers, chicken products, breakfast items, milkshakes, desserts, and soft serve drinks. Their breakfast items consist of anywhere from hotcakes, egg McMuffins, to sausage biscuits, breakfast burritos to oatmeal. Their most popular sellers are the Big Mac, McNuggets, French fries, the spicy chicken sandwich, crispy chicken sandwich, the McDouble, McChicken, and the double cheeseburger. They do sell a variety different of beverages that are supplied from Coca-Cola. They do sell milkshakes and different types of flavors and desserts as well. Going on with price, they use different types of pricing strategies, such as bundling pricing. They take two products together or different kinds and combine them and use them as a meal to make like a better bundle and pricing to advertise the customer more. They use psychological pricing strategies as making the price look better as it is than what they think it is, and not rounding the number to the nearest dollar, but keeping it lower to make it look cheaper than it is. Going on to promotion, they spent last year they spent around $650 million on ads. Their prime source of ads is TV advertisement. They do billboards. They also do sponsored events. The sponsored event that they did was a World Cup in 1994, as also NASCAR races. They like keeping their advertisement simple and a positive image, and engaging people in positive activities. They don't like using negative image on competitors. They believe fast food restaurant in the world with 110 plus countries, with over 37,000 restaurants worldwide. They do have different types of styles, like a normal McDonald's where you order, you either dine in inside or outside, or you use drive-through. They have a McCafe, which is basically like a cafe, but a McDonald's version of it, which they sell coffees and pastries, such things like that. They have a McDrive, which is basically located on like highways. It's just a drive-through service, no seating area. They want you in and out as fast as possible. And they are starting to use digital ordering on, such as like McDonald's Next, they call it. And that's it.
Now that we have a comprehensive look at the marketing mix, next logical step would be the SWOT analysis. So we get an accurate look at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats facing our business today. As per the acronym, we will start with strengths. And being the most well-known name in the fast food industry, McDonald's has quite a few strengths. Since its inception, it has grown to a size that many of our competitors seek to become, but likely will never reach. With over 37,000 locations in over 110 different countries, our large market share is no surprise to anybody. As per the New York Stock Exchange, we are holding steady at 21.4% of the fast food market, and that is nearly triple our nearest runner-up competitor. Additionally, brand recognition is a great strength for us, because who doesn't recognize the golden arches when they see it? The golden arches are a staple of McDonald's, and they become nearly synonymous with America itself. And even in some cultures, they are more recognizable than certain religious symbols. And finally, as per time constraint, our last strength I will mention is customer loyalty. A study done by a university in Indonesia found that consumer trust with McDonald's is higher than any other brand within that sort of localized area. And that is due to our fine work with our, I believe it was, social media marketing. As we are so transparent with the problems we face as a business and how we're trying to fix said problems, customers think of us as a trustworthy brand worthy of the $100. No business is without its weaknesses, however. And one that we've been facing recently in the last 2 decades is a negative product. Since the 2004 documentary, Super Size Me, where a man ate nothing but McDonald's for a 30-day period, his body mass index increased by 13% and he gained 24 pounds. Now, our food has become synonymous with salt, carbs, and fat. This is something that we have to battle. Another weakness that hurts our wallet more so than our product is the high rates of turnover that we have in our businesses. McDonald's jobs are often thought of to be low-skill, low-paid jobs, and the job market treats them as such. Unfortunately, our minimum wage employees tend to stick around for about a year, maybe 2, but then leave when a more lucrative opportunity presents itself. And as such, our training costs are never low throughout the year, and it's a constant battle to keep our franchises up and running and employed. But we do have some opportunities, even though we have been around for the better part of the century. Unfortunately, our competitors often jump at these opportunities before we do, but we'll get into that in the For instance, take the rise of veganism. I believe we can all agree that plant-based dieting is as popular as it's ever been. And as a response to that, Burger King released the Impossible Whopper, Wendy's released the Spicy Bean Burger, and we here at McDonald's, no. Another opportunity that presents itself is delivery services. Places like Jimmy John's and even Burger King have been getting into their own delivery sources, instead of what we have been doing for the last few years, which is third-party delivery through things like DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. Getting our own delivery service would allow us to further streamline our delivery of our food and connect our brand name and our brand image to that delivery service rather than another business. And now it's time to think about some of the threats that face our company today. In previous SWOT analysis, both from inside the company and from outside firms, we all agree that high competition is our biggest threat. We are part of the fast food market, a market that is $650 billion, and everybody wants a piece of it. Additionally, the altering consumer mindset. Nowadays, everybody wants organic. They want locally sourced, they want a health benefit, and unfortunately, our franchises are falling short on those goals. And additionally, we have never been quick to change. Our menu has not been altered drastically in several years. Additionally, we need to counteract this more so than anything else. Because as the market adapts, we need to adapt with it. The old way has gotten us here, but it will get us no further. And if we are to survive as a business, we need to continue to change with the times. And with that, we go to our case.
So in the case study for McDonald's, it was really easy to identify competitors for them. There's thousands of them when you look at it as on a global scale. But when you break it down, there's really only one that has the global reach that McDonald's does, and that is Burger King. Even though these other competitors are growing in popularity, they haven't been around since the 50s like McDonald's and Burger King. They were the first movers in the market. So they had the advantage moving forward. They perfected the processes, and this is what helped them reach so many different countries. But you look at the market share differences, there's a significant downfall for Burger King here. They aren't their own company. They're actually owned by, it's called Restaurant Brand International, and they also own Popeye's Chicken, as well as Tim Hortons. You look at the number of restaurants, McDonald's almost has still twice, even though they're out there. Fun fact, though, one of the reasons why I like Burger King is they're the only fast food restaurant other than Subway to set up 2 restaurants in Afghanistan. And I spent so much time over there, it's nice to have that option. So we had 2 Burger Kings all in Afghanistan. Going over the prices, right? So another reason why I chose Burger King as being the prime competitor for McDonald's is if you look at the products, they're very similar products. They have their flagship sandwiches, Burger King's Whopper, and then McDonald's Big Mac. But once you start looking at the actual prices, who here believes that Burger King is actually healthier than McDonald's? No one. Who here prefers Burger King over McDonald's? Okay, only a few. Does that justify the difference in prices? Does anybody believe that? No, right? One of the things though is what we brought up was the veganism. There is a huge opportunity for profit when it comes to these plant-based burgers, because it costs about $2.50 to $3.50 a pound for an Impossible brand from the manufacturers, right? So straight from Impossible. That means it's about $1 per patty, because they're only putting about a quarter-pound patty on your burger. So when we go into this, there are other restaurants that are getting into the veganism. We have KFC, they're adding Impossible Nuggets. Burger King as well is going to be adding Impossible Nuggets to their menu. What this does is allows them to target a niche market as it's growing. And not only the niche market, but they sell it off as being a healthier option than the other products on their menu. But when you actually look at the numbers, there isn't a huge difference other than saturated fat when it comes to the burgers as far as calories, sodium. They really aren't as healthy as it is sold to be. This also allows them to go after green marketing, because what they do is they claim that it is 70% reduction when it comes to chickens, when they're not using the chicken, as far as greenhouse gases, and then you also have 90% less greenhouse gas emissions from beef industry. Any questions? Because we're finishing up.